Welcome back, everybody. This is The Wild Side. This is Dave Clyde, 990, WBOB.com. With us, where we have on the phone, we have Timothy McGaffin II. Has a book, Champions Never Quit. I'm looking forward to this. Timothy, this is Dave. You're on.
All right, David. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, Timothy. We can hear you great. You want to be called Timothy or Tim or?
Yeah, you can call me Tim.
Absolutely.
David, thanks so much for having me on. I'm honored.
Oh, no problem, Tim. I was looking at some of your stuff online. Motivational, to say the least, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, just like you said, I wrote the book called Champions Never Quit with the subtitle, God is Close by Your Side, because one of the main, well, first of all, the book is about, all those times where we're working really hard, trying to do what's right in our life, and it seems like God isn't there, or he's not helping us, or, he's
abandoning us.
Care.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the main experiences I share I share my experiences that I've gone through and other people have gone through where it seemed like God wasn't there, but no matter how hard things get, no matter how many times things don't make sense, as long as you just never give up, you continue to keep going, in the end things will make sense, and you'll see that God was there, close by your side. Even though it seemed like he wasn't there, he really was. And we just have to learn certain things, and this life is a test, and God wants us to know what we're made out of. He knows what we're made out of, but we don't know, so we have to learn it and find out what we're made out of.
Why don't you give us some examples? I believe I was reading your personal on your. I actually have your page. Champions Never Quit. I actually have that on right now. But why don't you give your personal testimony of how it helped you? I mean, obviously, I see a ton of pictures of you in basketballs.
Yeah, thanks, David. So when I was real little, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do when I grew up, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I decided I would pray and ask God to help me find out what my dreams are and what I should do. And so I started praying, asking God to help me. And, it didn't seem like my prayers were being answered, but I felt like God was hearing what I was saying, but I didn't recognize any specific answer. So I didn't give up. I kept praying every day. And then one day, I did receive the answer, and the answer to my prayer is that I should play basketball. And whatever I was supposed to do, I wanted to be the greatest that there ever was. So if I was supposed to be a fireman, I wanted to be the greatest fireman that there ever was, or a policeman, I wanted to be the greatest there ever was. And so once I got the answer, and it was not my imagination, it wasn't, I wasn't under any delusion. It was a real answer. I knew without a doubt it was God telling me that I should play basketball. So once I got that answer, I made the goal that I'm going to become the greatest basketball player ever. So I started out on this journey, and, I'm like, I know this is going to be really difficult, and to be the greatest basketball player ever, I need to make the NBA, because the NBA, that's where all the best basketball players play. Like, I know it's going to be almost impossible, but if I do what I can do, if I do my best, then God will do the rest that I can't do, and, and I'll be able to achieve this dream. So I started working really hard, doing everything I could possibly do within my control, and, in seventh grade, I tried out for the team at Lake Ridge Junior High School. I didn't make it. I tried out again the next year in 8th grade at Canyon View. I didn't make it. I tried out again the next year. In 9th grade, I didn't make it. I tried out again at Orem High School. In 10th grade, I didn't make it. I tried out again the next year at Timpanogos High School. In 11th grade, I didn't make it. I tried out again in 12th grade. In American Fork High School, I didn't make it. Then I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints for 2 years in Portugal. I came back. I tried out again I had to have major knee surgery. My orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kimball, said I had the worst knees he'd ever seen. So after,
yeah, just what you want to hear, right?
Yeah, exactly. So everything. So God answered my prayer. He's supposed to be helping me, but it seems like he's not there. No matter what I do, it seems like I'm going completely the opposite way. And so then in college, I tried it again at UVSC, Utah Valley State College, and then I tried it again at University of Utah with Rick Majerus, who was coaching there, and I didn't make it. Then I tried a third time in college at the University of Utah, and I was one person away from making the team. They could only keep one person that year, and I went. The coaches called me into the office, Eric Jackson, and he told me that I was their number 2 man. So I was one person away from making the team after all those years, from making the college basketball team. And but the coaches, they liked me, and so they let me be equipment manager, so I was one of the people that was, the water boy,
Yep.
getting the towels and
Yep.
things like
Yeah.
that. And we had a pregame meal after I didn't make it this last time, so the entire team is there before the game at the hotel. We're eating in the dining room with most of the coaching staff is there, not all the coaching staff. And one of the players sitting next to me is trying to give me a hard time, and he's saying, "You're never going to be one of us. It's too hard. You're never going to be a college basketball player." And he's not just trying to give me a heart-to-heart talk.
He's being mean.
He's trying to, make fun of me in front of everybody. And so I waited till he was done talking. And then, and first of all, let me just say, David, and if you have to cut me off, let me know. But I was, this was really devastating to me, and I was only one person away. I was really upset, and so I was confused. I didn't know what's going on, and so I'm getting kind of upset. I'm like, that God doesn't seem like he's helping me, But anyways, so then when this player's done talking, I turn to him, and I'm like, "You're right. It is really difficult to be a college basketball player or to play college basketball. It's almost impossible." And I said, as difficult as it is to play basketball in college, it's even more difficult or even more impossible to play basketball in the NBA.
In the NBA.
To be an NBA basketball player, right?
Yep.
And then I said, but I have done something that is so difficult that not a single person in this room has done what I've done. And everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I just kept going. I'm like, not only has nobody in this room done what I've done, but not a single college basketball player playing in all college basketball has done what I've done. And not only has no one playing in college done what I've done, but not a single player in all of the NBA, not a single NBA basketball player has done what I've done. And not only has not a single basketball player in college or the NBA done what I've done, but not a single college or NBA basketball player, past or present, has done what I've done. So everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I said, no one has tried out to make a basketball team as many times in a row as I have. And still, no one has tried out to make a basketball team as many times in a row as I have, and also failed as many times in a row as I have, but still has not given up. And so I said, "Hey, the only reason you're on this team is because you just happen to grow 7 feet tall. Everything kept working out for you. The door's always been open for you, but the door's always been closed for me. But I keep coming back. I keep trying to reopen that door. And, if you want to have made your high school team one year, would you have come back a second year? Probably. But would you have come back a third year? Probably not. And I know without a doubt you wouldn't have come back a fourth year. And now with me, I've tried out 9 straight times over a 12-year period, and but I still haven't given up. And so I said, I know that the most difficult thing we can do in our lives is to get back up when we get knocked down, or to never quit. And not only is that the most difficult thing we can do in our lives, but it's also the greatest thing we can do in our lives. And I know the only type of person capable of never quitting are champions. And I know a champion is the greatest type of person you can become in your life. And so that just shows right there that it's the effort that matters. It's the effort that God cares about, because that just proves right there, first of all, it doesn't matter what the world sees or thinks of you, what the world thinks is great. All it matters is what God thinks is great. And because coming back all those years, that proves right there that's the most difficult thing you can do, and that's the greatest thing you could do. And also it proves that I couldn't have kept coming back year after year if God wasn't helping me. And because the reason I kept coming back every year is because God answered my prayer that that He was going to help me. And then I knew subconsciously that at this time, that I was the greatest basketball player ever, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't know that I knew, because it wasn't until 5 years later. This was in 2003, 2004 when I had this conversation with this player at the pregame meal. And then it wasn't until 5 years later, until November 2009, I was just thinking again about how I still haven't given up. I still haven't made the NBA yet, because, and I was just thinking and pondering that in my mind. And as I was thinking that, I felt basically God tell me, remember when I answered your prayer, the answer was not to play in the NBA. The answer was to become the greatest basketball player ever. And then I just sat there. I'm like, oh, yeah. The whole time in my flawed human understanding, I was thinking to be the greatest basketball player ever, I need to play in the NBA. So I'm thinking NBA. But what I realized is I already achieved my dream before I even achieved my dream, and that I already became the greatest basketball player ever just because I didn't give up. And that's what God cares about. And so everybody can get back up when they get knocked down. And when you do that, you're one of the you're the greatest, and it doesn't matter what the world sees, and that's what God cares about, is that you keep getting back up. That's what matters. and that's the lesson that God wanted me to learn. And and if everything kept going my way year after year, then what would I have learned? Oh, I can keep going when everything's good. Well, that doesn't really teach me. I didn't really learn anything, but now I know I can keep going when everything is falling apart around me. And so there's the main.
There's the main crux of the story. Now, my other question is, how many people have written to you or emailed you saying, you know what, I overcame my own personal disappointments, and maybe I had the key to happiness all the time and didn't even know it?
Yeah, that's awesome, David. Yeah, I have been basically overwhelmed with people sending me messages and just letting me know of similar things that they've gone through, where they know that the hand of God has been in their life. And